From Hillsboro, the safest town in Jefferson County, this is Jeffco Tonight.
Hello and welcome to Jeffco Tonight. I'm your host, Peter Lewis. Tonight is the final Jeffco Tonight, a program produced by the students of the Fall 2014 TV Production 1 and 2 classes. Tonight we'll be discussing Vet Tech's pet adoption and winter care tips, changes to the A+ program, an update on the women's basketball team, and we'll finish with a program performance by Jeffco's Jazz Combo. But first, with semester coming to an end, the stress level for students is on the rise. Active Minds is putting on a stress fest to help students here, and here to talk about is Alicia Thomason. Alicia, thanks for coming.
Thank you for having me.
So I guess just first off, what would you say Active Minds is here at Jeffco?
Active Minds is a campus organization. What we do is we change the conversation about mental health. We're the mental health advocacy group here on campus.
Okay. And what is Active Minds doing for Stress Fest?
Stress Fest is our semester end party, sort of say. We bring in Karma the therapy dog because we all know petting dogs releases endorphins, which ultimately lowers stress. We'll have coloring books, music. We'll have bubbles to be blown, things like that. We're going to do numerous activities just so students can lower their stress level during this week of finals. And that way they're relaxed and ultimately will do better on their finals than they would without the program.
And you say Active Minds is concerned with mental health, so what specific mental health is being focused on Stress Fest? Depression
mainly. Everybody near finals gets down in the dumps a little bit. So what we're going to do is we're going to try and raise up their spirits and be like, hey, you know what? It's just a test. Yeah. That's all it is. It's a test.
And it's open to everybody, free admission?
Yes, okay. Definitely.
All right. And how do you think the event will benefit students?
It's going to benefit the students because we're going to lower stress levels. They're going to go into finals more relaxed than what they normally would. So we're hoping to raise up their grades and ultimately bring up GPAs.
Okay. And I imagine you would want all students here, but is there a specific type you really want, like the first-time final taker or, say, somebody who's about to graduate?
We want everybody,
okay.
Everybody. Okay. We're not limited on who we want.
Right. And you have preparations to help everybody's specific situation?
Yes. Actually, what we're going to do is everybody's going to get animal cookies tomorrow, as we're going to have Karma the therapy dog and bubble wrap. What's better than sitting there crumbling bubble wrap?
Absolutely not.
Than to relieve stress.
Okay. And what lessons and techniques will be taught at Stress Fest besides the coloring books or
breathing exercises? Sleep more. Sleep the night before your final. Don't stay up cramming. Go to sleep, get up, eat breakfast, things like that.
Okay. And so do you have the times for Stress Fest tomorrow?
Yes, Stress Fest will be tomorrow in the AS1 lounge area from 12 to 2:30.
Okay, and that's the day at Hillsboro's campus?
At Hillsboro, yes.
Okay, and how do you think Stress Fest is going to help Active Minds' message?
We're going to get more people involved. It's generally one of our big sign-up times because people do see us, and we have different pamphlets out about what Active Minds is and what we do on campus.
Okay, thank you for joining us here. And up next, we will have Vet Tech talk about winter care tips and adoption.
Hello, I'm Anna Wiegand, your JCTV host. Today on the show we have some very special guests here to join us. Dana Navoy, who is the director of the Veterinary Technician Program, and Charlie Roberts, who is the assistant professor of the Jefferson College Veterinary Technician Program. And they brought with them Kiowa, Charlie's Australian cattle dog. Hi guys, thanks for coming. So as you know, the temperatures the temperature drops and we need to keep a special eye on our pets, what would you recommend to those pets, to the people who have pets that are unsure how to keep them safe in the winter and how to keep them warm?
If they're gonna keep them outside, they need to make sure they have adequate shelter. They need to pay special attention to their drinking water, because even though the temperature is cool, they do need plenty of fresh water to drink, and it will freeze. Their shelter needs to have adequate bedding so that they have shavings or straw. And they need to have good nutritional food, because that food is calories to keep themselves warm. Ideally, pets would go indoors when it gets cold, but we realize some people can't do that. So if you can't get them in the house or a garage, then making sure they're properly protected out there is the best thing.
Okay. And what if the pet has to be outdoors? How can you make the shelter, the outdoor cage they live in more warmer and more protective?
A good insulated doghouse is important, so something with wood insulated walls. Needs to have a floor. Some people overlook that and just have them directly on the ground. It needs to have a floor where the bedding is contained, and then some sort of covering over the door so that the dog has, complete closed in with their body heat. They need to pay close attention to their legs, tail, and ears, because when the temperatures get really cold, those are the areas where we're going to worry about frostbite. And that food and water needs to be checked at least a minimum of twice a day.
Okay. And bedding materials, you can use just straw.
Right.
A nice thick layer of straw in the doghouse itself will help keep it nice and toasty in there.
And straw or shavings is better than a blanket in the
Yes.
very extreme temperatures.
Okay. And what is the daily dosage for pets during the winter of their food and their water?
There's no one blanket recommendation for that, because each pet's size and age and specific requirements. But with water, they should have what we call free choice. So you shouldn't give them a measured amount. They should have adequate water to choose what their body needs. Feeding requirements, we usually recommend they follow guidelines on their feed packaging, and high quality is the key there, that they're not feeding some low quality food that doesn't provide adequate proteins and carbohydrates for their body's needs.
Okay. And then during the winter, cats are looking for a safe and warm place to hide. Is there any dangers to this that you're aware of, or?
Definitely. They love to crawl up into warm vehicles, like in the engine area, because it's nice and toasty there if it had just been turned off. So trying to keep them, in an enclosed area, whether it's a shed, a barn, garage, somewhere where they can stay nice and warm as well. Cats are more difficult than dogs because
Way more
they like
difficult.
to roam a little bit more if they're outside.
You can condition them to if you feed them in the area, that you provide them some sort of bedding, but that car engine thing is a huge deal, and I've seen many traumatic endings to them being up against your engine when you start your car. So that is a big danger, and it's harder it's more challenging. You can't confine them as easily. So.
And then is the ice that is used on the road and other substances to melt ice harmful to dogs or cats or house pets?
Definitely irritating to their paws. Most of your ice melts. You have to pay close attention to purchase pet safe. But the stuff that they use with the highway department is not pet safe. So if they eat it, or if they spend a lot of time with it on their paws, it will irritate, cause some redness and irritation on the paws. And you'll notice them licking at that usually if it's irritating them. So you got to be careful around your home that you're purchasing the pet safe products.
And now let's talk about the adoption program at Jefferson College.
Okay.
Where do your dogs come from, and how does the program work?
All of our animals are obtained from Jefferson County Animal Control. We have an agreement with them specifically, so they know that 2 times a semester we are going to request animals from them. We take 8 dogs and 6 cats, and they have to meet our specific requirements as far as we want males and females. We like them to be under a certain weight because we're regulated by other agencies that as far as living requirements, space requirements go, we have to stay within those guidelines. But once we receive them, we go ahead and we vaccinate them. We do all of their diagnostic testing, make sure they're completely healthy. We spay and neuter, and we microchip them, and then we adopt them out to the general public. Charlie is in charge of the adoption program, and we have students who are really involved as well. We have an adoption committee for our students to help out, but we do adoption events twice a semester now at the PetSmart in Crystal City. And you can also call the program or contact Charlie to receive any information about them or to set up an appointment to see them. So all in all, we receive 32 dogs and 24 cats per year that are available for adoption.
We spend some time working on their manners as well, and we try to match the animal with the appropriate family. So I do some testing, and if they're not good with kids, then I can let people know that. So it's a pretty good deal. There is a small fee for adoption, but it does cover all of those things that we have done for the animals. So.
Okay. And if you would like more information on how to adopt a pet through Jefferson College Veterinary Technician Program, you can contact Charlie, and her extension is 3449. Thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
And stick around. Coming up, we have Sarah Bright and Amanda McKay here to talk about Missouri's A+ program.
Hello, I'm Charles Holmes from JCTV, and we're back with our programming. Right now we have a financial aid assistant, Amanda McKay, who helps coordinate A+ at Jefferson College. We also have her supervisor, Sarah Bright, and she's the Director of Student Financial Services. Thank you, ladies, for being here for the interview today. So the A+ program, it's a great thing for students at community colleges across our beautiful state. What exactly is the A+ program?
The A+ program is something that a student earns in high school. They have to maintain a certain GPA and a certain attendance record while there, and then it's good for community college tuition here at the college.
So I hear there are some changes to it.
There have been some recent state revenue shortages that have caused the A+ program to not be fully funded this year. And so it was originally anticipated that students across the state would have a 4 credit hour cut, but it has since been updated as a result of the governor issuing some additional A+ money back to the program, that it's going to be 2 credit hours per A+ student statewide.
Okay. When did the news come down that the funding would be cut for the spring 2015 semester?
Originally, in August, there was some discussion about would there be enough funding to cover all of the A+ recipients that would be requesting reimbursement this year. And then in September, it was identified by the Missouri Department of Higher Education that there wouldn't be enough money to cover the A+ program for the year. During that time in September, all the community college presidents met with the Missouri Department of Higher Ed and tried to get them to overturn that, see if there was additional funding available, see what there could be done through the governor's office to give more money to the program. And then it was finally decided in early October that there would not be an option to relieve that shortage, that it was going to occur. So students were notified as soon as the college was aware that there was going to be a shortage, which I believe was October 5th.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Where does the funding come from?
The A+ program is funded through state revenue. A main way that it's funded, and students often and parents often see it, as the Missouri Lottery. You even probably have seen the commercials before, and so it's funded through state revenue.
Why do you think this came about? I mean, with such a big emphasis on education in our country today, I would think officials would try to cut something else before education.
We agree, and that's why we were lobbying to both the governor's office and the Missouri Department of Higher Education to see if there was anything that could be done, since the A+ promise had been made to students back when they were in high school and then again as community college students. The reason that we were notified as far as the purpose for the cut was just that there was not enough money to pay for the program, that it was underfunded, and that because the state revenue wasn't as much as anticipated, that there was essentially some withholdings. There wasn't enough money that was awarded to the program to fully cover all the expenses. So it would have been when students submitted reimbursements or schools submitted reimbursements for the students to be paid for their A+ coursework, there wasn't enough money to pay the bills.
So if you were involved with politics, what are some programs you would cut before A+?
We had actually talked to the Missouri Department of Higher Ed about some suggestions that we had as community college directors and our presidents. Not that we'd want to cut any program, because right now all students deserve the awards that they've been given. We did come up with some alternatives, such as maybe reducing the amount of Access Missouri funds that went out to students, which is an award that's given to somebody with a certain GPA who does their FAFSA in a timely manner, meaning they complete their application for financial aid earlier than others. Again, that's a valuable award, and we don't want to take money away from students who are deserving of those awards. However, in our conversations with the Department of Education, it was determined that those are different funding sources. Even though they're both state programs, it's not the same pot of money to work from, and it still wouldn't alleviate the issue of there being a shortage. It would just be taking money from somewhere else where people are deserving. So one thing that has helped is that originally the cut to the program was $4 million, and now the governor has released $2 million back to the A+ program, so it's now a $2 million shortage instead of a $4 million shortage.
What is some advice for students who will now have to pay for credit hours and are already struggling to make money as it is?
I would highly recommend that anyone who's having a financial hardship with paying the shortage, which currently for an in-district student, 2 credit hours would be $200. That would normally be covered by A+, because A+ covers both tuition and the technology fee. It doesn't cover the lab fee or books or anything, but it does cover those 2 things. So that's $200 for an in-district student. Out-of-district students, A+ covers or would have a cut of $298, so about $300. Pretty much all students, I'm sure, would struggle to make that payment, and we know that, especially during this time of year. We have taxes that are due, we have Christmas around the corner, all of these other things. And then, of course, there's families who are going through financial issues or having an economic hardship, loss of jobs and things like that. Those students, we highly recommend that they apply for one of the Foundation A+ scholarships. Our foundation and our foundation donors have been generous enough to offer $50,000 worth of relief to Jefferson College students. Statewide, that's not the case. Not every institution was able to do that, but because of the generosity of our donors, we were able to give $50,000 worth of assistance to students. So far, over 100 students have received notices that they were a scholarship recipient, and they don't have to worry about or panic about or make a different decision about their education because of this cut to A+ funding. We still have about $25,000 of that left. We've awarded about half, so there's about 100 more that we're going to award over this next couple of weeks. Some students have submitted scholarship applications and they haven't been reviewed yet, but we're going to be getting together in the next week or so to review those. So students are really encouraged to meet with enrollment services, meet with student financial services, and get a hold of that application form. They can contact Amanda from our office for that at extension 3239 or our main line and get that, because if you're struggling, don't let that be your determination of what's going to happen. It is a couple $100 and that is a financial strain, but the overall of what the student receives from the A+ program still makes it worth committing to finishing your degree or your certificate.
Mm-hmm. When do you think funding could be restored? If
they have talked about in January that there's the possibility that additional money will be released back. So we were fortunate enough that in November, $2 million was released by the governor to fund it a little bit more. Our hope is that in January we'll get another notice. The Department of Education has indicated that they won't know for sure until at least January, if not April of next year, because they need to see how many students are participating in the A+ program statewide who have requested money for the fall semester, which they won't know that until around December or January. And then even in January, they said that they might still be conservative with it because, again, they don't want to have a shortage later in the year where they don't have enough money to pay all the requests, in which case it may not be until April. So it might happen that students and their families pay the 2 credit hour cut, and then hopefully, and of course Jefferson College, our president and myself and our staff are going to be requesting that some kind of relief be made by the end of the year, and maybe students and their families will be repaid in April. That's the hope. Right now, the direction from the Department of Ed is that families should anticipate the 2-hour cut.
So would you say that as more students in high school are going into the A+ program, that's contributing to the deficit?
There are more students, according to the Department of Ed, even though maybe college enrollment may be down, there's more A+ participants now than ever. That could be contributing to the economy and different factors that help students determine where they're going to attend and how they're going to utilize the scholarship, because it is a really amazing opportunity. Mm-hmm. Whether or not there's going to be cuts for the future, we've asked the Department of Ed and they haven't indicated to us if there would be or not. My hope is that there won't be. I will say that at least Jefferson College and the other community colleges are getting together over the next couple of months to come up with some plans for, okay, how can we prevent this from happening again? Or if it does happen in the future, what are some better alternatives than having a cut to a student's award in the middle of the year, which of course we were not in favor of either. And so I know the conversations are happening. My hope is that the program will remain strong, and all I can do is just tell families and students that as of right now, the commitment's still there, the program is still being considered funded fully for the future, and that it still has a lot of really good benefits. Even if it would be a couple of credit hour cut, it's still more tuition and fees that are covered than not, and so it's still a really good opportunity for a family who doesn't qualify for federal aid in some way, such as a grant, or what doesn't want to have to pay back a student loan.
How has this news been received among not only Jeffco but other A+ schools around Missouri?
Very unhappy, as you can imagine. I mean, it's something that you wouldn't anticipate, because the students, as Amanda had mentioned at the very beginning, do volunteer hours, have good attendance, have a quality GPA, do all these other things while in high school, and then we have certain conditions that we expect them to meet on the college side. So it did come as a surprise that it was going to be not fully funded for the year. A+ has been a program that you wouldn't expect would have that kind of a hit, and so all community colleges and their presidents have been very vocal. I do think that combined with parents and families contacting the governor's office may have been one of the reasons that the $2 million was released. I think it helps to let politicians and the Department of Ed know that students need the money and that they were promised the funding based on what they had done. And so overall, it's been a surprise for all the other schools, and now we're going to be taking action to determine how do we make sure this doesn't happen again, or if it happens again, what's a better route to take on not affecting our students and their families the way that it happened this year.
So does this change any of the eligibility requirements for being an A+ student, or?
No, I'll let Amanda take that.
No, even though A+ is being cut for the spring semester, there is still the requirement of the 2.5 GPA, and you still have to be full-time no matter what, whether the cut's in place or not.
Okay.
Yeah, so the criteria still remains the same. The timeline still remains the same of how long somebody can use A+ as far as credit hours and years. And now, like I said, we're going to have some different conversations with the Department of Ed. If ever the criteria does change, we immediately would notify students. We try to do our best to keep families and students up to date on the A+ program because it is so unique. We have the A+ brochure out there and updated on a regular basis. We put A+ announcement out there through emails, through my Jeffco, and then most importantly, we have every A+ student sign an A+ contract that indicates the different criteria. So if something changes in the structure of the funding or the requirements, we would let you know, but it's still, as it stands, a program that's purpose is to get students to really focus in on what they want to take and get in and out with an associate's degree in a timely manner, and have high expectations for the students so that they keep quality grades and things like that. So.
Okay. So who could we blame as students for the cuts?
I don't know if you can blame anybody in particular. I will say that whenever we hosted our workshops, we hosted 6 different A+ workshops in the fall. As soon as we knew, we sent letters the first week of October, and then starting in the second week of October and throughout November, we held 6 different workshops at Arnold and at the Hillsborough campus. And we were telling students to contact the governor's office, see if they would be willing to release any funding. And that was back when it was 4 hours. So I would recommend having families talk to politicians, talk to their governor's office, talk to their representatives in the area. It doesn't hurt to contact the Department of Ed as well. I will say they're kind of like our institution is, that they're responsible for administering the program. They're not necessarily the ones who get to make the decisions about it. Unfortunately, the best decision Jefferson could make is just try our best to get enough money raised by donors through our foundation to help students out, but we really still didn't have control over whether or not the program was going to be funded a certain way. We're just kind of the middle person who, assigns the awards and helps give them out. But it seemed worth it to me. We also put information out in the leaders, so I think putting stuff out there through media helps because it makes more people aware of what's going on, and they get invested and are vocal about how it affects their family negatively.
Okay. Well, there you have it. I'm Charles Holmes from JCTV, and we hope this has provided some clarity on the A+ program. Once again, thank you for coming in for the interview. Up next, we have Erin Feely to talk about women's basketball at Jeffco.
Hello, I'm Aaron Feely for Jeffco Tonight. I'm here today with Haley Meyer and Takia Cooper from the Jeffco basketball team. How are you girls tonight?
Good.
That's great to hear. So the team is 5-0 at home this season. What do you think is the biggest difference, at least for you guys, between playing at home and playing on the road?
I mean, we always had a home court advantage, so it's like we're more excuse me, we're more hyped. I mean, we have our crowd, we have everything, so it's like when we're on the road, we always have that, those referees that's trying to, fight against us. So that's kind of what we have going on at home.
Alrighty.
What you about to say?
The team's points per game for each player is very well dispersed throughout the entire team this year. Is that a major point of emphasis for you guys, or to make sure that everyone is getting equal scoring chances, that everyone is contributing?
I mean, it really don't matter who's really, scoring, just to make sure that everybody play defense. I mean, that's what really counts, not the points, really.
All right.
Everybody gets their chances.
I mean, speaking of defense, you guys ranked top 25 in 2 major categories of the whole nation. You guys are top 25 in block shots with almost 6 per game, and top 25 in opponents' points per game, giving up 58 points per game. It's pretty good. What do you think is the biggest key to your guys' team's defensive dominance this season?
He always say box out, rebound second, and dive for the ball. So that's our biggest thing when we think of defense. That's pretty much it. Mm-hmm. Box out, jump, get the rebound. That's the only thing that you really hear him saying on defense. Pretty much.
The team has a plus 8.4 margin in rebounding this season per game. How important has that been for your team's overall success to this point?
Without rebounding, they score a lot more. So we just practice a lot of crashing the boards and not letting them have their second chances.
Alrighty. The team has done a great job, especially I got a chance to announce one of your games against, I believe it was Southeastern Illinois College. And one of the things I noticed is you guys did a great job of transitioning, going from defense to offense very well. Something that, when I asked your coach about that last year, he said was a struggle last season. Has that been a practice point this year? Have you guys been really hitting the transitioning hard?
Yes, that's the number one thing that we do every single practice. From the beginning of practice to the end, we are doing transition drills, and just the first thing you want to do is not just set up a play. You just run down the court and try to get a basket. That's in every offense.
All right. And this one's more for you, Coop. What is the biggest difference between last year when you were a freshman on this team, being one of the youngsters, to this year being one of only 3 returners and being more of a experienced player on this team?
Well, for me, the huge difference from last year and this year is I'm more connected with the team. I mean, there's less attitudes, and, you know, this year we're playing for each other and not just, you know, fighting and nitpicking at each other. Like, I have these points, I have these rebounds. There's no I in team. This year is just a us. So I can communicate with them better.
Alrighty. What do you think is the biggest key tomorrow in snapping this road skid that you guys have kind of been on? But tomorrow you guys play St. Louis Community College. What do you think is going to be the biggest key to winning that game?
I think playing tough. St. Louis Community College is very physical, so I have to be very tough with them and rebounds a lot, because they can get a lot of rebounds.
Alrighty. And to this point in the season, what is each of your favorite memory or moment this early in the year?
I really like practice because, you know, the coach always throwing the ball at somebody when you're not looking. So he really, like, make jokes and make fun of us kind of if we are messing up on the court. So those are the ones that I can really remember. I know he threw the ball at me a few times and I wasn't looking, so I'm always remember those practices.
Always got to be ready for the surprise pass.
Yeah. Or he'll hit you in the ball in the face. He don't care.
That's just solid coaching right there. Haley?
I can't remember any.
Do either of you guys have any, most athletes have some sort of superstition on game day. Either of you guys? Anything you have to do before you can play?
I'm all about music. I have to get hyped. I mean, I don't listen to rock and roll, but, you know, I just need music in my ears so I can just focus, and I just focus on the plays, and I know what the coach is going to end up saying in every game, so I just focus on what he's saying before he even say it.
Alrighty. And what do you think is the biggest key moving forward for this team to making this team a championship caliber basketball team?
In my opinion, I just think that we need to stay together as a family. Our motto is protect the team. So if we keep, you know, following that, then we should be successful at the end.
Alrighty. Which one of you guys would win a one-on-one?
I mean, if that's out of 3 or 5, it's pretty tough.
Alrighty.
Okay.
The Jeffco basketball team will play again at home on December 13th against Southeastern Iowa. That game will be at 6 o'clock. Thank you girls very much for stopping by.
No problem.
I'm Aaron Feely for Jeffco Tonight.
So thank you all for watching this segment of Jeffco Tonight. Be sure to tune in next semester. And to finish off, the Jeffco Jazz Combo. Thank you all.